Hey guys, welcome back to SlipStitchery. I'm so excited because today is my very first crochet pattern tutorial for YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell on the side. That way every time I upload a new video, you'll be alerted immediately. We're going to go ahead and dive in. So here we go. Alright guys, so here is all of the supplies that you're going to need to make your Easter bunny. You'll need 2 skeins of different colors. In the pattern, I use turquoise by I Love This Yarn from Hobby Lobby, but for some reason I guess I lost my skein, so the color that I'm using in this tutorial is just a tad bit off. It is Peacock by the same brand, just slightly off. The pink color is Rosy Cheeks, same brand, and then we've got Vintage Blush Rose Antique Celebrate It. I got this at Michael's and I was able to pretty much almost match the same exact color. That's pretty dang close. I'll put a link in the description below for this. You'll also need a hot glue gun and glue stick if you're going to do the hot glue method for the pom-pom, which I will be showing how to do in this tutorial that I don't explain in the actual pattern. I have a wooden dowel for stuffing, yarn needle, a 3.75 millimeter hook, which is F, some polyfil. You're going to need more than this, but just for shot's sake, this is what I decided to put it in, and some scissors. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You'll need to start with the main color of your choice. Mine's going to be that peacock color. Decreases and increases and slip stitches. There isn't really a gauge. At the time whenever I designed this pattern, I didn't think it was important, but the finished project should be around 8 by 9 inches. They're not very big. So let's begin. You're going to be making 2 bunny shapes and then single crocheting them together with stuffing in between. To start off, we're going to be doing a slip knot to start our chain. I just wrap mine around my finger, pull my finger out and pull that through, and then tighten. There are easier ways to learn how to do a slip knot, and you can find more on YouTube. For round 1, we're going to chain 25 and single crochet 24 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and then you'll start your single crochets in the second chain from the hook, not this one but that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. We will be chaining 1 and turning after each row. It's listed at the very beginning of the pattern, not after the end of every single row. I just find that too repetitive, and it takes up a lot of space whenever you're trying to lay your patterns out and everything on an actual PDF, so we will be chaining 1 and turning after each row unless told not to. For row 2, we're going to single crochet 21 across, and then we're going to leave the last 3 stitches unworked. So it should be a total of 21 stitches altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So we'll stop there and chain 1 and turn. You'll have those 3 stitches left at the end. So this is how it should look so far. Rounds 3, 4, and 5 are all single crochet 21 across, and you will be chaining 1 and turning after each one. So I will meet you back up at the end of row 5. All right, so here we are at the end of round 5. This is what your piece should look like. I've already chained 1, and I'm going to turn for round 6. Round 6 is going to be where we start our decreases. We're going to decrease across the first 2 stitches, and then single crochet 19 to the end for a total of 20. Now when I do my decreases, I like to do invisible decreases, and I'll show y'all how to do that. You pick up the first loop of your first stitch, and then you go in and pull up the first loop of your second stitch. You're going to yarn over, pull through those front loops. You've got 2 loops on your hook, and then just complete your single crochet, and that connects those. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Chain 1 and turn. 7, we're going to be single crocheting 18 across, and then we'll decrease across the last 2 stitches for a total of 19. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and pull out more yarn. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then we have our last 2 stitches. So now we're going to decrease across those. You'll go through the first loop, and then on the end I would just like to do it regularly. Pull through those, and then do your single crochet. I do it on the edge. That way I have a pretty much seamless edge. Chain 1 and turn. For row 8, all we're going to do is single crochet 19 across. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Chain 1 and turn. So with those decreases, you can see we're starting to taper a little bit. That's how your work should look. Row 9, we're going to decrease across the first 2 stitches and then single crochet 17 for the rest. And then we're going to chain 5 off of the end. If you have the pattern, you'll see the picture in the tutorial. So pull up your front loops, yarn over and pull through those, and then do your single crochet. Then 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, dog hair, story of my life. Let me see, I lost track here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now I'm sorry if that was confusing. We did the decrease across the first 2 stitches, which counted as 1 stitch, and then we did 17, which gives me a total of 18. And then we're going to chain 5 off the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is how your work should look with your chain 5 off of the end. We're going to single crochet in our chains for round 10 and then all the way across to the end. So that will equal 22 stitches across. We're going to start in this chain right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we just start in the row. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So that's how it'll look at the end of row 10. For round 11, we're going to be decreasing across these first 2 stitches, single crocheting 18 across, and then we're going to be putting 2 increases in the last 2 stitches. So do our decrease, and then single crochet 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now for my increases, I like to do invisible increases. I go through that front loop and put a single crochet, and then I go through both loops in the regular stitch and do another single crochet. I'll do it for this last one. And then there we go. You should have 23 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. For round 12, we're just going to do 23 single crochets across. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Chain 1 and turn. For row 13, we're going to decrease across the first 2 stitches, single crochet 19, and then increase in the last 2 stitches. So we're going to do our decrease. And then our single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, and then increases in the last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. So this is how we're starting to look. And this part right here is going to be the head. And you've got your tail. Let's see. Row 14 is going to be 22 single crochet across, and then we're going to decrease across the last 2 stitches. So row 14 will have 23 altogether. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. And then we're going to do our decrease. Chain 1 and turn. Row 15, we're going to single crochet 21 across and then decrease in the last, decrease across the last 2 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And now we're going to decrease. Chain 1 and turn. Now you'll notice with these decreases that our head is going to start rounding out a little bit. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, All right. All right, round 16, we're going to be decreasing across the first 2 stitches, single crocheting 18 across, and then decreasing across the last 2 stitches. So 16 will have a total of 20 altogether. So we'll do our decrease, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and then we're going to decrease. Row 17, we are going to decrease across the first 2 stitches, then we're going to single crochet 8, then we're going to slip stitch in the next 4 stitches, then we'll chain 1 and single crochet in the same stitch as that last 4th slip stitch, and then single crochet in the next 6 stitches. Now I know that's a lot, so I'm going to go through it very slowly, piece by piece. So row 17, we're going to do our decrease as our first, then we're going to single crochet 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to put in 4 slip stitches. Do these kind of loosely. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now in this 4th one, we're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet in that same stitch. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so this is how your bunny should look. It's kind of hard to tell, but there should be a little bit of a dip right there. So it goes like this, dips a little bit, and then comes back up. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. For row 18, we're going to decrease across the first 2 stitches and then single crochet in the next 5. So we'll be stopping right here. We won't be going any further, and you'll chain up 1 and turn. So we're going to decrease and then single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to chain up 1. So that's how it should look. For row 19, we're going to do an increase in the first stitch and then single crochet 5 across. So you'll have a total of 7 stitches with your increase. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1 and turn. That's how the rabbit head should start looking now. There we go. For row 20, we're going to decrease across those first 2 stitches and then single crochet in the next 4 and then put an increase in the last stitch. So we'll do our decrease, single crochet 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to increase in this last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Okay, 21 is where the bunny ears are going to start. All we're going to do is single crochet 3 across and then chain 1 and turn. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and turn. So that's how it should look. For row 22, we're just going to single crochet 3 across. And then chain 1 and turn. So you see it got longer. For row 23, we're going to single crochet 3 across. Chain 1 and turn. Now for 24, we're going to increase in the first stitch, put 1 single crochet in that middle stitch, and then increase in the last stitch. So that'll give us a total of 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1 and turn. For row 25, we're just going to single crochet 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to chain 1 and turn. So that's what it should be looking like now. For row 26, we're going to decrease across those first 2 stitches, put a single crochet in the middle, and then decrease across the last 2 stitches. So we'll be going back down to 3 stitches total. So decrease, single crochet, and decrease. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to decrease across the first 2 stitches for row 27, and then we're going to put a single crochet in that last stitch. So that brings us down to 2 stitches total. So that's decrease and single crochet. That gives us 2 stitches. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And then all we're going to do is just put a decrease in the last tip of the ear. There we go. And then you're going to need your scissors and fasten off. So now you have 1 bunny ear made. For your second bunny ear, we are going to flip our bunny over, and we're going to start with new yarn. We're going to skip this stitch right here and then start with our new yarn for the second ear in that stitch right there. So what I like to do is I like to make another slip knot, pull it through, chain 1, and then single crochet. That's how I start mine. And that counts as the first stitch, second stitch, and third stitch. And all you're doing is just repeating rows 21 through 28. And I just did row 21, so we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 22 is we single crocheted 3 across. Chain 1 and turn. Row 23, we single crocheted 3 across. Chain 1 and turn. Row 24 is where we put an increase in the first stitch, a single crochet in the middle, and then an increase in the last stitch, and that gives us 5 total stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 25 is single crochet 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 1 and turn. And then row 26 is where we decrease across the first 2 stitches, single crochet in the middle, and then decrease across those last 2. And that brings us back to 3 stitches total. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and turn. Row 27, we're going to decrease across the first 2 stitches and then put a single crochet in that last stitch. And that brings us down to 2 stitches total. That's 1 and 2. Chain 1 and turn. And then we're just going to put a decrease for 1 stitch total. And then fasten off. Alrighty guys, so we now have the ears made. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip our work upside down. The bunny's head should be on your right side and the tail should be on the left. We're going to skip these first 2 stitches right here, and we're going to start new yarn just like how we started that second ear. We're going to start it in that 3rd stitch right there. I forgot to mention that when we did that second ear, I considered that to be row 29. So we'll be starting on row 30. You make a slip knot and then pull it through, chain 1, and then single crochet, and that's your first stitch of round 30. And round 30, all we're going to be doing is single crocheting across and then putting a decrease across the last 2 stitches for a total of 21. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then we're just going to decrease across these last 2 stitches right here. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 31, we are going to decrease across the first 2 stitches and then single crochet 18. Then we're going to slip stitch in the last stitch and then slip stitch down to the previous row and in the last 2 stitches, and then chain 3 off the end. I know that's a lot, so we're going to go through it slowly. First, we do our decrease across the first 2 stitches. So there's our decrease. Then we're going to single crochet 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a slip stitch in this last stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch down to the previous row and then slip stitch in these last 2 stitches. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a slip stitch in the actual stitch right here. Then I added a slip stitch on the side of that row. And then now we're slip stitching down to these last 2 stitches. And that just kind of rounds everything off. See? Just like that. And then now we're going to chain 3 off of the end. 1, 2, 3. So this is how it should look so far. Here we go. Now we're going to turn our work. Oops. And all we're going to do is just single crochet 3. So we'll do 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to single crochet 3 across again for row 33. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn. I know it looks a little weird right now. That's okay. If it looks like this, you're doing exactly right. And if you have the pattern or you're thinking about getting a copy of the PDF pattern, I've got pictures of everything of this process, so you have a visual guide to help you as well. So row 34, we're going to single crochet in these first 2 stitches, and then we're going to decrease in the last stitch down the side to the base of round 1. And then slip stitch in the next stitch and then fasten off. And I know that's a lot, so I'll go slow. We're going to do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. Man, this dog hair. Oh, my dog sheds so much. And no matter how hard you try to keep it out of your yarn, sometimes you just can't. So we did the first one and the second one. This is the only time that I will probably do a regular decrease because it's hard to just pick up the beginning front loops. So when I do my decrease across this right here, I'm going to do a regular decrease. So I'm going to go in and pull up my yarn, and then I'm going to decrease down the side of it and pull that up as well. So I've got 3 loops on my hook and then complete. And then now I'm going to put a slip stitch into the base of round 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch in this next stitch right here, and that just kind of completes everything, and then we're going to fasten off. And this gives you a better picture of how it's supposed to look. I'm going to flip it for you so you can see how it is. And we have a completed bunny panel. Now I will meet you back up whenever I have made my second panel, and I am going to go ahead and take care of all of my little tails. So I'll meet you back up whenever we are ready to move on to the next step. Alright, so here is my second panel. I already stitched in my eye. I did forget to add in the beginning with the materials that you were going to need just a small amount of black, or you can use a small safety eye. I think in the pattern I used between a 10 and a 12 millimeter safety eye. That's completely up to you. If you are a beginner, you can look for other tutorials on YouTube on how to stitch in eyes. I had that footage originally, but it somehow deleted itself, I guess, so I don't have it anymore, but I just didn't want to have to redo it or anything. All I did is just attach it to the back. There's my 2 different ends, and then just sewed in my eye. So now what we're going to be doing is we are going to be aligning both of our pieces. And then we're going to single crochet those two pieces together. Now I'm going to start about right here before those slip stitches. I find that it's easier to single crochet around the head and get the head stuffed before the rest of the body. So you'll just make a slip knot, go through both layers, you're going to pull it through, and then we're going to chain one and then start our single crochets. So if you are a more intermediate or advanced crocheter and you don't want to wait for the end of the tutorial and you just want to go ahead and just single crochet around everything, in the pattern I put that I did decreases in the valleys and corners, but I have changed my techniques and I will go back and update the pattern. I now do slip stitches in the valleys and corners. It's just a nicer look, but I will go back in there and update that in the pattern. But if you want to, you just put slip stitch. I do 2 slip stitches in the valley of the ears, that way it gives it more separation. The tips of the ears, I do single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the tips. I increase in the nose. So we'll go ahead and start getting our bunny together. And just try to make sure it's lined up as best as you can. I like to start right here, especially because of those slip stitches, and just get them out of the way. Here's a section where we're going to put in a slip stitch. And you don't have to chain one after anything. Just go to the next one and then just put your single crochet in. And it's not a big deal if you're off by a stitch. Just make sure that you check every once in a while to make sure that you're aligned. I am by no means perfect in my alignment sometimes. We're at the tip of the ear, so we're going to go through both layers. We're going to do a single crochet, a chain 1, and a single crochet. Make sure it's all lined up again. Alright, now we've gotten to a part where we're going to do a slip stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch in this middle part right here. And then start our single crochets again. Sometimes I actually end up going below the edge a little bit, and that's okay too. I'm not perfect, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to get this sucker connected. Single crochet, chain 1, and single crochet in the other tip of the ear. Because at the end of the day, as long as it looks nice and you're happy with it, and see that kept our separation, putting those slip stitches right there, which is my goal. But yeah, like I said, as long as you're happy with it and you think it looks nice, it's all that matters. And we're just going to keep on single crocheting this little dude together. I'm going to stop for a second and readjust. And the good thing is if you get to where you notice that you're off a little bit, you can stretch it and get it realigned again. Right, we're in the tip of the nose, and I'm just going to do an increase. I don't do an invisible increase right there. It's kind of hard to do it, so I just, since we're having to go through both layers. And just keep on working your way down. I'm going to do one more right here. And then this is where I'm going to put in my slip stitch. And then just start single crocheting again. All right. So I'm going to stop right there so we can go ahead and work on getting the head stuffed a little bit. This is where your wooden dowel is going to come in handy. If you don't happen to have one on hand, you can use chopsticks like me. This is actually a chopstick. I don't know what happened to it. I guess it got messed up in the drawer because it hasn't been used, and I just took it out of the packaging, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. So you're going to take a little bit. Let me pull my hook out here. Probably about that much. And if you want to use your finger, you can. I like to a little bit until I can't anymore. And then take your wooden dowel and stuff the ear. You don't want to do too much. That way it's not showing through or anything. But you do want to try to get it as far into the tip of the ear as possible so that your ears aren't flat. Like my dowel is like right there. Take a little bit more. Stuff it. And then add a little bit more, and we're going to go into the other ear. I should have actually did this ear first. It probably would have been easier, but that's okay. All I care about is just getting it to the tip. There we go. Sometimes it can be a little finicky. I'll show you a trick right quick. If you get to where too much is showing, take the end of your yarn needle and kind of pull up your stitches a little bit like this and pull them. You can try to get most of that to go back in there. There we go. And I just made it noticeable again, but that's okay. I'm not too picky. Especially because I know that this is all going to settle in a little bit and then it won't be too noticeable. I've never really tried to do a pantyhose method or anything, but you can totally stuff your bunny with the same color yarn. I do that with my chocolate one that I make. Alrighty, and that'll be enough for now. I'm going to end up stuffing that head some more, but I do want to go ahead and crochet around it some more. We'll put a slip stitch in that little valley right there. I am still adjusting to these clover hooks. I don't know if it's just me or if you've probably noticed I have snagged a lot in this video. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to jump and say, oh, you need to get Susan bait hooks, and that's a whole nother story. I'm going to go ahead and put in slip stitch right there. But yeah, I like Susan Bates hooks. There's just their the design I can't work with. They put the thumb part right here up a little bit higher, I believe, and I can't. There's no way. Y'all already see that I've got my clover handle way down that we had to pull down. I like them. I like the inline design. I just can't use them. Oh no, I forgot I ran out of yarn. Another little snazzy little trick here. This is my version of a Russian knot. Take the two pieces, align them together. I wrap it once around my thumb and underneath, and then wrap it again, just like that. Tuck those bad boys underneath and pull. I normally have a little bit of an end left, so I always just snip mine. I don't ever worry about them coming apart. I always test them. And I know that right there will bother a lot of y'all. Sorry, this right here will bother a lot of y'all, but I've gotten pretty good about hiding mine. There are other tutorials that you can watch on how to make one. But we're just going to keep on keeping on. And see, now mine's basically hidden. You can't even see it. And you can't even feel it either. It's smooth. That ticking noise is the sound of doom for my computer. I don't know why it's doing it, but it's just been doing that lately. And then slip stitch in that corner right there. So this is how we're looking so far. So I am going to stop right here and stuff my little foot because I don't want that to not be stuffed whenever I start doing all the other parts. And it's probably easier to use your finger. There we go. I'm going to stuff my head a little bit more. And when I stuff, I don't just put it in there. I try to work the stuffing in with other stuffing as well, so I get a nice, clean look. And I do have a tendency to overstuff a little bit, but that's because I know that the stuffing is going to relax a little bit, and then those stitches won't be so expressed or stretched. But like I said, if you want to, go ahead and use the same color yarn that you're using. It might actually even look good if you used your contrast yarn too. Have it peeking through a little bit. I'll go ahead and stuff this part right here too. All right. So now I'm going to continue. Make sure I'm lined up here good. All right. So now is a good time to just go ahead and stop, and we're going to fill up the rest of our bunny. We've got enough space where you can fit some fingers in there. I take bigger chunks now. and start getting them all together on the inside. It's not a really big deal if you can't get your little tail part stuffed, because your pom-pom is going to be covering it anyway, so it's not really the end of the world, because it can be a little hard to get to stuff it. Ran out of polyfil. Right. And then just sit here and feel, I need some more right in here. There's too much of an indent, you see. You don't want that. You want it to be pretty solid. Keep getting my yarn in there. And now I've found a pocket. See that pocket? That's definitely not something that you want. You want to fill that. Let me see if I can get a better angle here on the camera. There we go. Pocket. You want to fill that space. And now I feel pretty solid all the way around. I don't really have, see how it doesn't give way as much? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, I have another pocket right there. Let me see. There we go. So now I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to close it just a tad bit more, and then stuff it, and then hopefully only single crochet a couple more stitches and then stuff it again, and then be done. So one, I'll go about 3 stitches. That leaves me a little bit of room still to be able to there we go. And I think I'm okay. Let me put a little bit more in there. All right, and now I should be able to just go ahead and close them up. Come on, there we go. All right, and I'm going to fasten off. Alrighty, and that is one stuffed bunny. You can sit here and work it a little bit where it flattens out and everything. There we go. Now you just want to hide your tail. Oh, I've got that tail too I gotta get rid of. I like to take my tail and go through the back of that stitch that it's by, and then just pull it, and that hides that knot that we made whenever we tied it off. And then I just go through these stitches right here and pull it through. Then I go back through right here. And then one more time again. And then that's all she wrote. I'll snip that. And I'm going to snip that. Alrighty. So now we're going to move on to putting in our nose. and then making our pom-pom. So now's a good time to go ahead and get your hot glue gun going if you're going to do the hot glue method. I just take a small amount of pink yarn. I don't know, it's probably more than a foot. I'd say like 13 to 15 inches. Thread your needle. I'm going to go into the back right here and just tie this in. You want to leave enough to where you can hide this tail. Now, if you're just really picky and you don't want any pink showing in the back, you can stitch in your nose on just a single panel if that makes you happy. It doesn't bother me. I go into the bunny itself. That way I can hide as much of that as possible. For the bunny's nose, all I'm going to do is whip stitch into those increases. You'll have to do it a couple of times, at least 5 or 6 until you're happy with it. Oops, not right there. Here we go. There we go. And so now our little bunny has a nose. I got to do one more right there though, because that's going to bother me if I don't get it to lay right through there. Get my tail out of there. There we go. Now I'm just going to thread that through there. There we go. I'm going to snip these at the same length. Oops. I'm going to tie those together. I do not profess to be a professional embroiderer. This is just how I have always done it, and I make it look nice and neat for my taste. It might drive some other people crazy, but for me it's not a big deal. Whatever makes you happy. Go through that same one to hide it. Pull those tight. There we go. So now our little bunny has a nose and it's adorable. Alright, so to do your pom-pom, you're going to need a contrasting color. Since I'm going to be making a fairly small pom-pom, I'm just going to use my hand. Sometimes I use my hook case for this, but if you do this method, please make sure you're careful because we will be using hot glue and I don't want you to burn yourself. What I do is I like to pull out a whole bunch of yarn, take my hand like this, and leave some hanging. I know you can't really see that, but about that much is hanging off. And just wrap it around your hand. The first layer does not have to be perfect. I just get it to where I'm not going to burn my hand or anything. Okay. So now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm just going to put a single line of hot glue across the middle. Apparently my glue was not hot enough. That's okay though. I've got hot glue hands or fingers, so I'm used to being burned. Anyways, so now that you've got that first layer on there, very quickly go ahead and wrap it until you can't see your hot glue anymore. Then you're going to flip your hand. Try to do it in the same exact spot as the other side. Just a small layer, a small line, and just wrap it very quickly. You can continue to do this until you think it's thick enough. I go at least 6 or 7 times of just back and forth. And this one you don't have to make yours too thick, especially because this one's going to be a small one. And this will probably be my last one. I know it can be a little messy and everything, but this is just the way that I do it. Okay. So go ahead and pull it off. Leaked on me. There you go. What it should look like. And you're going to want to take a long piece of yarn, at least 12 inches, and we're going to put it in the middle of it right there. And you're just going to tie a knot. Don't tie it down all the way. Put a little line of hot glue there, and then tighten it as tight as you can. And then I like to put another little dot of hot glue right there and tie it again. And then I just take mine like this and tighten it down like that. Alrighty, so this is how it looks. It's not perfect, mine never are, but they come out pretty, so that's all I care about. Now you're going to go loops and start cutting. Until you have this disaster. I know it doesn't look great right now, but it will. And then I like to flip mine over and go ahead and shake it out. And now we're just going to start trimming. The good thing with the smaller pom-poms is that you're going to have to cut a lot. So I know it looks like you're cutting off too much maybe, but you're not, because you got to realize you don't want this huge thing on here. You want it to be a little bit smaller. So I am going to keep on cutting mine down. And once you start making them this way, you get into your own rhythm of what you want your pom-poms to look like. I like to try to spin mine around. Now I know this top is going to have to be shorn down a good ways as well. Okay. Now just when you think that your pom-pom might be done, I'm going to tell you something. It's not done. You always, always, always have to flip it over and do the shake test. Because look, it wasn't finished. Something about shaking them makes all of your loose ends and stuff come out. And then you just got to keep on cutting some more. I got this side too long right here. I'll shake it out again. I do this at least between 3 and 5 times so I can really see that right there. I gotta cut that because I just want my pom-poms to look a certain way. Alright, I think I'm actually pretty happy with this. I might cut that down a little bit right there. Alrighty. Try to get all of this out the way so I can show you. Alright, so I take my yarn needle and I thread one of these ends. And all I'm going to do is figure out if that's going to be okay. Yep. Alright. I just put it through both sides on this one, pull it all the way through, and then take my other one and pull it all, thread it, and then I leave a little bit of a gap in between stitches where I put my placement at. And then I go ahead and just tie it. I do mine twice. And then I just thread my needle again and hide my tails. You can go back through your pom-pom with one of your ends to if you want it more secure. There we go. Pull that tight. And now the little pom-poms on. This one is actually a little bit bigger than the ones that I made originally, but that's okay. If you see any hot glue, you can just pull it out, It's not ever really noticeable for me. But there he is so far. I don't know why I keep calling him a him. Alrighty. So last but not least is going to be our ribbon. Now for our ribbon, I like to wrap it around first right here, just enough to figure out where it's going to overlap, and then I snip it. This is just my technique to make a cleaner looking bow instead of having to tie it and then it cinching. Put a dab of hot glue. Just make sure that's tight, and then place it over. And whenever we go to do the actual bow itself, you won't see that little overlay part. That's why you can do it in the back if you want, but I do it right here. That way it's actually hidden by the rest of the ribbon itself. Now I take a good long bit. I probably actually overuse ribbon, but I just do that as a safety measure so that I make sure I actually have enough, because I don't want to be too short. So I do at least 13 to 15 inches of ribbon. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. So take your length, and we're going to put part of it underneath and pull. So basically you're looking just like this. I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot in mine. And then tie my bow. Do whatever you feel looks nice for you. This is why I always cut a lot of ribbon, because I'm so finicky about how mine looks. I like to get mine tight and then pull it to where my bow gets smaller. But it's still going to be tight. Pull it down a little bit. All right. And then I'm just going to cut at an angle and turn around to face me backwards so I can see that they're pretty much the same lengths. And then ta-dum! Our little bunny is finished. Thank you so much for joining me for my first tutorial. I really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy this pattern. More than likely, with everything that's been going on right now with the coronavirus and everything, I'm going to put this pattern on sale, and I am just hoping and praying that everybody stays healthy and sane during these hard times. Go ahead and click that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment below. Please be nice. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.